This is Math Expressions Unit 3, Lesson 5, and we are correcting this lesson. So remember, as you are correcting, please don't erase anything. I want to be able to see what you did. But if you do need to make fixes, please use either your green correcting pen if you have one, or you could also use a green colored pencil. All right. It looks like we left off here on number 3. And remember, we are rounding to the nearest 100, rounding to this near 100. So we underline the digit in the hundreds place. So 271. So 271 is more than 200, right? That's to the left, and to the right would be 300. So now we're looking at now we're looking at 71, but really all we need to do is look at that next digit, 7, right? 7 is going to be more than the 50. So 271, that 70 tells us we need to round up. So that becomes 300. So let's look at number 4 here. So 300. There it is again. Now we look at that 7, and that tells us it's 70 something. So right away we can go, oh, we know we're going to round up to 400. Number 5, so 640. Well, 40 is less than 50, right? So we know we're going to round down. So I'm kind of ignoring the digit in the ones place because we really don't need it. So let's look at number 6. So 410, right? We're in the 10 somewhere. Well, that's way less than 50. So we know we're going to round down to 400. And now number 7, this one's a little bit tricky, right? 500. And so it's between 500 and 600. And now it's 50. So right away, whenever it's a 5 or a 50 there, we know we're going to round up in the United States. So that becomes 600. And then number 8 was also kind of tricky. Remember, we didn't have any hundreds. So we're in between a 0 and 100. And then that 6, which means 60. It's more than 50, right? So we round up to 100. Number 9, again, here's that, remember that 1,000, any digit, any amount to the left of our place that we're looking at stays the same. So now we're looking at that 480 something. So 80 is more, so we're going to round up to 500. And then number 10, that 2,000 is going to stay the same. So 600 is what we're looking at, 610. So that is going to stay at 600. That's going to round down. We say 600. So what are we doing? Really, so I'm going to say, how do I know whether to round up? Really, I look at the digit in the tens place, and then I compare it to, really, I'm comparing it to 50, to that middle number. So I just look at the digit next to, just to the right of the hundreds place, and that tells me, is that going to be less than 50, or is it going to be 50 or more? All right? So if you need to pause and make those fixes, please do, and then we're going to go on. Okay, here we go. So now we are working on, it looks like we were working on number 13 here. We already did number 12. So I'm going to take those numbers, 191, 225, and hopefully you did this, 107, and I'm going to round them. I'm going to say those are about, remember that's what that little squiggly equal sign means. So 191 when I round it becomes 200. 225 when I round it stays at 200, and then 107 becomes 107. So you could really see pretty quickly, 100. Stays at 100. That really all we're doing is all we have to do is add up the digits in the hundreds place. 2, 2, and 1. 2 plus 2 is 4. 1. So about how many miles? About 500 miles. All right. Number 14. So remember, we took that 832. That was our total. This is the one that we had to find the missing add-end, really. So 832 becomes just 800. 292 becomes 300. So now all I'm doing is going, what's 800 minus the 300? And then that will give me this amount. So that is 500. So about how many people? About 500 people. All right. So now let's go ahead and look down here at number 16. Remember, we're saying we're looking at the reasonableness of the answers by rounding first off. So right above that 377, I'm going to say that rounds to 400. And then 191 rounds to 200. So those two together would equal 600. Is 568 somewhere close to 600? Yeah, I would. I think so. So I'm going to say 600. I'm going to say, yeah, that's pretty close. That's close enough. Because that would round to 600, right? Okay, let's look at number 17. 268 rounds to 300 minus this time. 57 is 100. And that would be 200. Well, that's pretty far away from 107. So I'm going to say the answer is 200, and no, it's not a reasonable answer. So let's look at number 18. 41 rounds to 0. 395 rounds to 400. And if we add those together, we get 400. Well, that's pretty far away from 300. So here's our answer, 400, and I'm going to say no. All right, and then so down here on the check for understanding, explain how to round a number with the 7 in the tens place to the nearest hundred. 7 is more than 5, so we round up. Really, right? Because we're comparing it to that middle 5. So if this is our low number, this is our high number, whatever's going to be in the middle is going to be 5 something. It could be 50, it could be 150, 250, it could be just 5, it could be 15. It's going to be 5 something. So we look at that, we're really comparing to that 5. And if it's 5 or more, we're going to round up. If it's 4 or less, we're going to round down, right? So that's why over here we say that we round up. All right, so go ahead and make sure that you have all those fixes. And then that's the end of Lesson 5. Good job, you guys. That was kind of tricky. Good job.